بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. So today we continue the last week before the exam, inshallah, next week. The last 5 ayahs that are being covered on the exam are ayahs 21 through 25. So inshallah, hopefully as we go through these ayahs, you'll find that you already know a lot of the words. So even though they're bigger ayahs, some of them, most of the words you can say, oh, I already know the word, or at least I already know the root letters for the word. So the first word is new for us, ya ayyuha. It's actually, some people write it as 2 different words, some people write the whole ya ayyuha as 1 word. It together means O. Ya by itself also means O, but it's ayyuha is used when you have alif lam coming after it. So ya ayyuha alladina, ya ayyuha nas, ya ayyuha alladina, I already said that, ya ayyuha alladina. So anything with alif lam that comes after O, you have to put the ayyuha there. If you don't have that, you can say Ya Muhammad, Ya Zayd, and that becomes O Zayd. In today's grammar lesson, we'll kind of find that these O, this O particle or O construction has some important rules. So just a foreshadow. An-nas, the humanity or the mankind. We already studied that word multiple times. Or abudu is a word that we should know at least the root letters of, which is ayn bada. Ibad, the abd means worship. This means to worship. So this particular word is a command, as in worship. And who is it addressing? It's addressing an-nas obviously, but just looking at this word, we know it's addressing you plural, you all. So worship you all, and it's masculine. I guess I normally put the masculine after the you. So worship you, masculine all. So it's a command, worship. O mankind, worship. Rabbakum. Your, again we did this word multiple times before, but just to, your, okay, so that's kind of how I do the translation, just as a reminder. Alladhi, he who, khalaqakum. Again, we're pretty much familiar with this word, khalaqa, khaliq, the creator. Khalaqa means he created. He created. And then kum is the attached pronoun. Hopefully we're all comfortable with the attached pronoun now. We did that a couple weeks ago, so we have to keep reviewing those just in case we forget. But kum and hum, these come very often. So even if you just review passively the Quran, inshallah it will be difficult to forget these. Kum is again you all. So worship your Lord, He who created you all. Walladina, and those who, min qablikum, from before you. So not only did He create you all, He also created those who, min qablikum, from before you. So this is the past 2 grammar lessons put together, guys. There are a couple of prepositions right here. Prepositions. And an attached pronoun. Min qablikum, from before you all. La'allakum, so that you. Again, la'alla is so that. This is so that. I think we had it once before. So that. Kum is you all. Tattaqun, this waw noon at the end again is plural, the ta in the beginning is you. So you is masculine, all. There are multiple ways of translating taqwa. Neither of them is bad, unfortunately neither of them is good either. So the best way, some translate as righteous. Some you can say you all, alright. You all have conscience. And I try to include all of these in the tests or the exercise after the week. All the various iterations and possibilities of this. So, O mankind, worship your Lord, He who created you all. He created you all. Walladina, and those who, min qablikum, from before you. There's a R here in the middle. Like I said, Sometimes in the full sentence translation we have to add some linking verbs just to link. And those who are from before you, لَعَلَّكُمْ, so that you all are righteous or have conscience. However you want to translate taqwa. But we all know from lectures and experience what the meaning of taqwa is. It's holistic, it combines multiple English meanings.
Is it okay if I say you all Rabbakum, right? So you have to translate Rabb to the Lord, or just can I say Rabb?
So question is, when we do the translation, do we translate Rabb to just Rabb? It's a good question. I mean, how much do you want to just leave it in Arabic? Allah, obviously I just leave it Allah. But Rabb, I think you should translate that, just so you know the meaning. Again, Rabb, Lord is not the best translation, and I understand that. But none of these other words are the best translation either. Ubudu is worship, okay? Nas, humanity. I mean, they're all approximations. So to leave out one word, and where do you define the boundary between, okay, I can translate this into English versus, oh, everyone knows what it means in Arabic and there's no good English translation. In fact, more than Rabb, I would say tattaqoon would be one that you would leave. You all have taqwa. But again, just to be in an exercise of making sure we actually know all the words, not just we have a fuzzy idea of what they mean. We try to make all of them concrete to a certain sense. So it's a good question. If you were asked to translate it, it's up to you what you feel comfortable with. But for this class, the only word really that I don't translate is Allah. Everything else, you find that if you look up in a book, translation book, they all will be translated. So, moving on to the next ayah, Alladhi, again, he who. Ja'ala is the same word that we had as yaj'aluna. I heard you guys talk about yaj'aluna asabi'ahum, putting their fingertips or finger in their ear for fear of death. So ja'ala here is make. He made. He put was last time, or they put. They put was the translation last time. And there's really no contradiction between these words, or between these translations. Ja'ala is a bit of a more abstract word. So it can be used with many things. It can even be used with a construction, for example. He made a building. Ja'ala binaya, for example. So just something to put in a state. It just conveys a state. And there are probably certain words in English that are like this. In every language there's one of these ja'ala words that you can just throw in as a verb whenever you can't find the right verb, basically. It fits multiple different contexts. So it's he made, he put. Both of these are about the same. It's not really that they're different definitions of the same word. It's just the same word being used in two contexts. Lakum is for you all. Al-ard, the earth. Firasha, this one is a new word. Firasha is like a spread. Spread like that you can rest on. So farasha, the root, also means to spread. So you can use it as a verb too. Farashnaha. Well, arda farashnaha. The earth we spread it. In a different place in the Quran. Wasama, and the sky, we have that word, and the sky. Bina'an, this is a new canopy. Canopy, very good. Always overachieving. Okay, Bina'a is canopy.
What is the root word?
Bana. The root word is, I think, banaya. I'll check that, but I'm pretty sure it's banaya. So it's the same root word. Actually, I checked it already before I came. It's the same root word as banina, banat, which is like sons and daughters. So bina in more general sense, in this specific context, it can mean canopy. In the general sense, it can mean any kind of construction. Support. Okay, so that's the same. Even again, banina, banat, which means sons and daughters, comes from the same word. Wa anzala. So yeah, to confirm it's banaya. Wa anzala, he sent down, he revealed, minas samai, from the sky, ma'an, water. Ma is water. And this is a very common word actually in spoken Arabic more than it is in Quranic Arabic. I'm sure the people who speak Arabic at home, ma is very common. It's more common than all these words. And again, I said anzala is he revealed or he sent down. In this context, you would probably say he sent down. Because reveal has more to do with like Quran, you reveal the Quran or with like scripture. Versus this anzala is sent down in this context. So, he sent down. And again, just like ja'ala, he sent down and he revealed are not different definitions of the same word. It's just because you don't have an exact translation, like somebody was pointing out earlier, we just have to use a different word for each context. Again, the root word is nazala here, which means to come down. Anzala is to make something come down. So that could be revelation, that could be water. So to make anything do nuzul is anzala. So we're not done with the ayahs. Continuing. وَأَنزَلَ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً فَأَخْرَجَ. Again, kharaja means to exit. Akhraja is to make exit. So he, and we say brought forth, just to make it a little more eloquent. Brought forth. Make exit doesn't sound eloquent. Brought forth sounds more. فَأَخْرَجَ بِهِ, with it. مِنَ الثَّمَرَاتِ, from the fruits.
What's the root word for thamara?
Thamara. And thamara. This one is pretty easy. The alif ta is the plural feminine. Many plural feminines will end in alif ta. And then the thamara is just the remaining three letters. The thamara. Rizqan lakum. We had this word, I believe already, provision or sustenance. So we send down we send down water, and from it we bring forth thamarat, fruit, rizqan lakum, as provision or as sustenance for you all.
So they cannot do like food risk. The food word food is not food.
So question is, can you translate it as food? Rizq is a lot more than food actually. So why am I making this distinction when I didn't do it for like Rabb and all that? Because they actually have a word for food. Anybody know the word for food? Ta'am. Okay, so that's just food. Rizq is a little bit more comprehensive than that. Okay, Rizqan lakum, for you all. Fala tajalu. Again, ja'ala. The make all word, that the verb that you can use anywhere. So do not it's not create, do not make. Again, probably make would be the best word. What?
He said, I know andada.
I know. You said I know what andada is, right? What is it? Again, overachieving. Okay. So tajalu is do not. So you. Again, I want you to translate it as specific as possible. When you do this word to word online, you can put like make or put and it will mark it wrong. I want you to have the you all, or even if you don't have all, just at least the you. You should know it's second person. That's kind of important.
If we in the test exclude masculine, or just
You don't have to.
feminine?
You don't have to. You don't have to. Even right now. So there's a question: do you have to put masculine, feminine, all that? Even right now in the exercises, it's when you shadow over. If you get it wrong and you put your cursor over that blank spot that's wrong, yes, the answer will be masculine, feminine with all the details. But when you actually type it in, if you don't put those, it'll mark it correct still. So you don't have to put all. You don't have to put masculine, feminine. Everything else you should put. You should put they, he, all those things. The pronoun you have to put there, just so you know who's talking. This is referring to, it's a command. So do not make, so do not put, so do not associate. Okay, so do not make. Lillahi, for Allah. Andada, and probably the root is nadada, rivals. Sorry?
Da.
Noon dal dal. And I'm not 100% sure about that one either. So I'll let you guys know for sure. Andada, وأنتم, and you all. This is a detached pronoun. Does it come at the beginning of a sentence? Not really, but it comes at the beginning of a thought. Okay? Do not make rivals. وَأَنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ, and you all know. It's not receiving the action of a verb. It's not receiving the action of a preposition. And most importantly, it's not possessive of any kind. It doesn't show possession. So if those three categories do not fit, then you use a detached pronoun. وَأَنْتُمْ. What is antum? You all. Masculine. You, masculine, all. This is how the full translation that I give. And you all. Ta'lamun, you, masculine, all, no. Okay, from ilm. Right. Next ayah. In. There's a lot of words in Arabic that have alif and noon. There's an, in, inna, and anna. So in is if. Wa in is and if. If. Again, some of the other ones that you'll see in the future, an, anna, and inna. Inna you already saw, which means what? Indeed. So don't get confused. You've seen two of these so far. Don't get confused between inna and in. Inna is indeed, in is if. They're very, very different. One is a certain statement, right? Inna indeed means verily, this is definitely true. In means if, which means it could be true, maybe it's not. It's a conditional. Wa in kuntum, and if you all were. You all were. We studied kana already. There's kana, kanat, kuntum, kanu. So all those means were. So it's the verb to be. In English we call it the verb to be. Again, it's just a link, kind of like a linking word. You all were. It's in the past tense. Fi. In. And a lot of people, I just want to make a comment. A lot of people ask me, like, is this past, is this present? That's one of the more confusing things that people have had trouble with so far. And since we didn't learn verb tense and conjugation yet, I just say, if it's past or present. One hint that I'll give you. If the conjugation letters are after the root, right? Kaf, waw, noon is the root. All of these are afterwards, it's past. If some of them come before, it's present. Okay? So if they come before, it's present. If they come after, past. There are some exceptions to that, but that should be a marker to start off with.
So
Before you memorize all the tenses.
the root word for kuntum is
Kaf, waw, noon. So the kaf, the waw you don't see. You kind of see it right here. So it's kaf, waw, noon, and all the conjugation comes after that. So it's past. You all were masculine. You masculine, all were. Raib is doubt. You'll see this in the Quran also as the raib is doubt, it's a noun, it's an ism. You'll also see it as the ism fa'il, murib, one who has doubt. Remember the meme with the dhamma means one who. Mushrikun, mu'minun, munafiqun, muslimun, muribun. You can also make that plural. Murib is one who has doubt. Okay, so doubt. Mimma, from what? It's a combination of min and ma. Min, which we also, which we studied last week as a preposition, from, and ma, which is what? Which we had a lot of times.
that.
Naz.
Those are the root words.
It's not root words. It's not root because mimma doesn't have root words. It's just a contraction. Well, you like in English, can not, can't, shall not, shan't. I can do like that one. Okay. So it's basically a contraction. Okay. Nazzalna is very close to meaning as anzalna. Nazzalna, anzalna. Both mean to make something come down, to send down. We sent down. And I've tried, as somebody who's trying to memorize the Quran, maybe some of you guys are, I've tried very hard to find a way to figure out if the next word while I'm reciting is going to be nazzalna or anzalna. It's very hard because both are used with revelation and both are used with water. And so far I couldn't find it. So if anybody has any way of differentiating by context, nazzalna and anzalna, please tell me. It's very helpful for memorization. The whole point, one of the biggest advantages of learning Arabic is that it really helps you with the application of the Quran, obviously, in daily life. Like when you read, when somebody's reading, imagine going, if you go to the masjid 5 times a day or maybe some fewer times than that, but hopefully a few times a day at least, and you hear Quran being read out loud and that's it. You get some instruction straight from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every day. Straight from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're getting instruction on a daily basis. What can be better than that? So that's obviously the benefit. Secondly is, if you're trying to study or memorize the Quran, knowing why there's tanween dhamma here and fatha here and single fatha and all that, it can make you worry less about memorizing those parts and just memorizing the words. And sometimes you know how phrases link together and all that. So it's really helpful for his too, if any of you are interested in that.
So one question I have, Nazalna. So it's like we send down, or like na is like I send down.
What is the root of nazala is noon zala. So the conjugation comes after that, the past tense. The first na is actually not we. Okay, just like anzala, that noon is not part of we. The na at the end is we. So just like anzalna we send down, nazalna is we send down. Good question. Ala is on, another preposition that we studied last week. Abdina, our. This one is attached pronoun, not we this way, but this is our, attached pronoun. This is not called a pronoun, this is called a conjugation. It's part of the verb really. Okay? That's a very difficult concept to grasp. Because you can have attached pronoun attached to a verb. You can have a pronoun that's attached to a verb. For example, you can have khalaqana. He created us. Khalaqana. Listen very carefully. Khalaqana is he created us. Na, that would be an attached pronoun. That would be ism dhamir. Muttasil. Attached. However, khalaqna is we created. That is not an ism dhamir. That's a part of the verb. Conjugation. Khalaqana versus khalaqna. So it sounds almost the same. One you spell like this. Khalaqana. This is with versus that. Okay, so again, make sure when you read the Quran, you read it clearly. Because you can change the meaning with one over-emphatic khutbah. What is khutbah? Qalqala, right? So if you're too emphatic with the qalqala, you can change the meaning. So make sure you know your tajweed. Abdina is our slave. Referring to who the Quran was revealed to, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, our slave. Again, from the same root abada, we saw in the last ayah, ya ayyuhan nas tu'budu, worship you all. This is the same, our slave. To, so, bring. Bring.
I turned into like, so we bring, I gave.
So this is a command, it's you all again, actually. It's just like urbudu.
Okay.
Urbudu, to. So again, we didn't learn command verbs, so but that's out of it. Okay? And there wouldn't be we because there's no noon anymore.
Okay.
Bi suratin, with a surah, a chapter. And again, this is one of those words that you can just leave as surah, but I prefer that you write with a chapter. I know surah is more than a chapter and all that, but just we need to have a concrete definition. Min, from, mithli, its likeness. So, yeah, I know. We said mithl can be example also. Okay? So you can write its example, I guess. But in this context, when you translate into English, its likeness is better. So bring a surah like a surah from the Quran versus bring a surah like its example. That doesn't make much sense in English. Okay? So yes, mithl is also example. Because we had kamathali, right? In the ayah 15, 16 around there. So example would be correct. I wouldn't mark it wrong if you put its example. But just, for English purposes. Wad'u, da'wa. We know da'wa, invite. And invite. So we have the and in the beginning. Invite. Again, it's you all. It's another command. Fa'tu, ad'u. All these, they have a sukoon on the second letter. Fa'budu. And this alif is just there as a place marker. And invite.
Or call.
You all. Call is okay too. Yeah, call. Yeah. Again, I'll put the. You can. For command verbs, you can either leave off this you all part in the bottom, right here. This part right here is optional, but I put it there just so you know. Grammatically, it's referring to you all, masculine. Because you can have command verbs for you, feminine, all. You can have singular command for one person, so all those things. If you put and invite, fine, correct. If you don't, if you put the extra, you don't get extra credit, you just know Arabic better. Good for you. Shuhada is witnesses. From shahada, the root. So shahid, for example, one who witnesses. Shuhadaakum, your, with attached pronoun again. Attached pronoun. Your, all, witnesses, masculine. Okay, so this is masculine. So all of your witnesses, bring them. So bring all your witnesses. Min dunillah, from. Dun is other than. This is an important word to know. Ghayr is another, other than. Ghayr is like a synonym. Ghayr. Maybe that'll make it easier. Because dun, not a lot of people know. Ghayr, a lot of Urdu speaking people know. So ghayr, other than. Dun, other than. They're used in slightly different contexts, but it's approximate synonym. In kuntum sadiqeen, if, just like here, in, not inna, in. In kuntum, if you were, sadiqeen, ones who are truthful. Okay, so not only mu, let me add one to that. Not only mu in the beginning is one who, but alif in the middle, like sadiqeen, kafirin. So you can hear that alif after the first root letter. Sadaqa, sadiqeen. Kafara, kafirin. Okay?
And it's Sabiqeen, not Sabiqoon.
That's a whole other story. Sadiqun also means ones who are truthful. But why is it Sadiqeen? That is a whole other story. That'll take like a long time to read.
We haven't covered.
No, we haven't covered it. The grammar that we've covered so far is actually very simple. Pronoun, root letters. None of this takes any brain power really, the grammar that we've covered so far. Right? Just need to know type of word, root letter, pronoun, preposition, that's it. And today's lesson will be a little bit more thinking than these, but we didn't cover that much grammar so far. Mostly we've been focusing on knowing the word. Okay. Second to last time, don't get too antsy. Umar, don't get a heart attack. فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا, why are you grabbing your chest? Just like that. فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا, so if, did not, again, we had this word before. أَأَنذَرْتَهُمْ أَمْ لَمْ تُنذِرْ, did not. So did not. فَإِن, what is in? This was the third time today. So if, we have to remember the fa. So if, did not, taf'alu, you all do. I don't want to repeat that because we did fa'ala before. Taf'alu, oh, fine, we'll write again. You all do. Walan taf'alu, and you, this is will never. So it's kind of the opposite of lam. Lam is did not in the past, lam is will never in the future. Will never. Okay, and don't forget the end. So lan is will never. There are three negatives that are of importance to us, that are related. Lam, la, and lan. Lam, la, and lan. Lam is did not in the past. La is general, meaning mostly applicable to the present. And lan is present and any time in the future. So will never. So from now on, it will never happen. وَلَن تَفْعَلُوا, again, you did not, you all do. فَاتَّقُوا, another command. There's a jazm here. فَاتَّقُوا, فَعْبُدُوا, فَأْتُوا. Then you can kind of the fa is so, but other than that, you can see the similarity. So, have taqwa. So, have conscience. And then you all. all. And now, the fire. Allati, it, which. Just like alladhi. So, allati could be she who, or it which feminine. It feminine which.
So it is because of the nar is feminine, that's why?
Yes. Now is feminine. Okay? So, alladhi could be he who, or it masculine which. So both are relative pronouns. فَاتَّقُوا النَّارَ الَّتِي وَقُودُهَا, its fuels. Where did we see waqada before? مَثَلُهُمْ استوقد نار. Very good. Istawaqada. Istawqada. Seek fuel or light. More specifically, istawqada means he lit. Waqud, now we see the root letters in a different kind. Now can you see how root letters can be important? Before you say istawqada and waquduha are two completely different words. Now you know what ha is. It's possessive, attached pronoun. It's possessive, that's why it's attached. It's, the nar is possessing, so it's fuel. Waqud. An-nasu, the people, the mankind, the humanity, however you want to translate that. Wal hijara, and the stones. And the stones. And if you didn't know, some of the hottest fires in the universe, which are in the sun, what is the fuel of the sun? The fuel of the sun is hydrogen and helium. This is not stone. When you get to humongous stars, they have iron core reactor in them. Their core is actually iron. And usually once it becomes iron, it stops. But the biggest stars of all, they actually react the iron. So the iron becomes fuel. And then you see a supernova, right? If you ever heard of a supernova, the thing that releases the most energy in this whole universe is a supernova. It's like billions of the entire sun's life, how much energy it releases. Billions times that in a span of a few minutes. SubhanAllah. So the fuel that those reactions happen on is actually a fusion of reaction in iron. So it's a kind of an interesting, I guess, side note. I thought that was interesting. Based on your face, because it doesn't look like you've seen anything that's interesting. Wal hijara. U'iddat, this is passive. So how do we, whenever I say passive, you should think it is verb or it was something. It is or it was, not just directly the verb. A'adda is it prepared. U'iddat, it was prepared. It was prepared. Not it prepared, but it was prepared. Okay, and this is feminine because of the ta right there. So it was prepared.
So the root word is adaya.
Adada, actually.
Adada.
This shadda.
Shadda.
And adada means to count. Kam adad, what is your age?
Yeah.
And so prepared as in like very thoughtfully prepared. Counted, measured, that kind of prepared. Okay? Or it, and this is feminine. So got the F. It, F was prepared. It feminine was prepared.
Because of the ta.
Yeah, because of the ta. It's feminine because of the ta.
So the root word is
Adada.
One more time. Ain, dal, dal. Adad means to count. Lil kafirin, for, we know li from the prepositions, right? So we've covered min, hawla, a bunch of prepositions so far. Li is for, al. Here's an interesting, just a side note, but you should just learn it right now because we're not going to really talk about it again. When you have li with alif lam, you drop the alif, as you probably noticed here. There's no alif. Okay, it just happens with li. So you just la and la go together. So for the kafirin, ones who reject or ones who disbelieve, and that's masculine. One's masculine who disbelieve. Again, just like the last time, we had sadiqin, kafirin. Just like the moon in the beginning, Alif in the middle is also one suit. Okay? And last ayah. وَبَشِّرْ. This is also a command, but it doesn't look like the commands that we studied so far. We studied plural commands. This is singular. This is singular, talking to one person. Okay? Plural commands, fa'tu, fattaqu, those ones, they sound fa'budu, they sounded kind of similar. This one sounds very different. And we'll study how to make commands and all that later. So,
Give glad tidings.
thank you. And give glad tidings. You forgot the end. And give glad tidings. Give glad tidings. And again, this has a bunch of iterations. Give good news, give glad tidings. Either one is fine. And give glad tidings. So from the root, it's pretty simple. Bashara.
But news, it is not in the news. News.
You can say that. That's why I said give good news, give glad tidings. Either way is fine. Okay.
So it has to be good news actually. Or it's, can I use that?
Okay, so
Bashara is like.
you guys are very worried about the exam and the quiz, I know. If there's something that is correct, retroactively I can still change it. Don't worry, I can grade it. Here, this is what I did. I did a regular expression. So, give glad tidings, give glad news, give good tidings, give good news. All of those work, inshallah. Okay? If you have a fifth option and you put that and it's still correct, then we can change it and we can include that. So don't worry about that. Okay? As long as you know the meaning, that's the important thing. Those who, alladina, masculine, obviously, those masculine who, amanu, they believe, they masculine believe, wa amilu. Did we have amala before? I don't know. Ain? Yes, we did. Okay, we did. So we don't have to go over that again. They believe, as-sali, or not they believe, sorry, they did. They did as-salihat. Past tense. They did as-salihat, the good deeds. Or righteous deeds. Keep it simple.
What was Amilu again?
They did. They did. Amala. Amal. I work. Right? Amal. Anna lahum. This is the anna that I was talking about. We did inna, in. Now anna. That. That. So, give good tidings. What? Give good tidings. That. Such and such. Anna, that, for them, masculine, jannat. We all know Jannah, right? The root of this is interesting though. It's Jim, Noon, Noon. Jim, Noon, Noon. Same root word as Jinn and Majnoon. No. Okay, so the same root word here. Jim, Noon, Noon. So some people say like Jannah is that overwhelming in terms of like senses because it's so unlike anything that you have experienced in this world. So just as a side note, I don't know what the actual importance is. The singular of Jannat is Jannah. Very common. You have a ta marbuta, you change it to alif ta. Jannah with the ta marbuta, alif ta, Jannah. So give glad tidings to the amanu lilladina amanu wa amilu salihat anna lahum jannat. Gardens tajri, jara means to it runs. It runs. Feminine. Because of the ta again.
It can be also.
You.
Is it not really because Jannah itself is a feminine?
No, not because of Jannah. But it's because something else is feminine. Okay. Tajri min from under it. Tahtiha, under it. This is referring back to Jannah, which is why ha is feminine. Under it, feminine. Anhar is the rivers. This is the thing that's feminine, tajri. Okay, anhar, the rivers. The rivers. And specifically it's feminine because it's a broken plural. Anhar. Okay, so whenever I'll make a small comment on that and then we'll study it later, don't worry. Anytime you have a broken plural, you use a feminine adjective or verb with it. If you're using adjective, feminine adjective. If you're using a verb, feminine verb.
It has to be feminine.
It has to be feminine. And singular also. If it's in a verbal sentence. But we'll talk about those things later. Kullama, every time. Every time. Kull, again every. Remember kull. Inna Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir. We had that last week, the last time. So kull is every. You can
Ma is what, right? Can I?
Okay.
Okay.
You want to put every what? I mean, that doesn't really make sense, so I would prefer every time. Okay? Try not to forget. Every time. So, literally every what. But ma is not just what. Ma has, I mean, so many meanings. And even if you use it as a relative pronoun, that is what it is, a relative pronoun. Every instance basically means. Everything, just a relative pronoun. It can be for multiple things.
Last week, like the kullama, what?
Yeah.
Whenever.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So you want to put whenever?
Like I'm asking.
Yeah, it's the same definition. Same thing. Kullama. Alahum. Very good. From last week we had kullama, we said whenever. Did we say whenever? I guess we said whenever. Okay. If you want, you can say every time or whenever. Let me just check which one they. I think kullama is easier to remember because of a kul and ma. Here they have.
Whenever.
They have whenever in here? Okay, so let's stick with whenever, yeah. So we'll stick with whenever. If you put every time, I won't mark it wrong, but whenever. Whenever. Jazakallah. Ruziqu, they, masculine, were provided. Minha, from it, you should know this, preposition, attached pronoun because receiving the preposition. From what? From it. Every time they were provided from it. This is passive. Remember, they were. That's why there's a word here. Not they provided, they were provided. Minha, min, from, samaratin, fruit. We had the plural of this last time, right? Samara, samarat. Just like jannah, jannah. So you can see a pattern here. We'll talk about these again later. I just appreciate the patterns when you see them. We don't have to talk. You don't have to wait until the grammar lesson to appreciate the pattern. Although we will have one. Samara, samarat. So samara is one fruit, or one type of fruit. Rizqan, provision. Qalu, they said. I don't have to repeat that. Hada, this one is this. Okay, we didn't study demonstrative pronouns yet, but inshallah we will. It's a type of pronoun. Hada. Qalu hada alladhi, it which, it masculine, which. It can also mean he who, depending on the context, what alladhi is referring back to. But we're referring to the rizq. So alladhi ruziqna, again passive, we were provided from before. Right, this is from, this is before. I don't know why I'm writing these, you should already know this. Wa'utu, and they were, again you have to put the word as passive. They were given. Ataya, yes, from the root word hamza kaya. Bihi, with it. Mu. And so when you say mu, one who, or one that, because this is not a person. It's not a person, it's referring to the wrist. Okay? One that resembles. Shabaha. Resemble. And the ta is actually like a each other kind of a thing, but we'll study that too later. So one that, this doesn't look like anything. Resemble. Oh, sorry. One that resembles. Walahum, and for them, fiha, in it, azwaj, from zawj. Zawj, the plural is azwaj. And again, so as soon as you see broken plural, you use feminine singular to describe it or to use a verb with it. Describing word comes right after it. Describing word comes after it. Mutahhar. One, again, mu. Mu right here, one, and this is feminine. Who is purified. And we'll learn how to tell the difference between one who is purifying and one who is purified. So there is a difference. Those spouses. Wahum, and then they.
Can I just say purified spouses? Purified.
One, I would prefer you know
One
who, because then you know that the mu. The mu. As soon as you move, one who. Just put one who. And you can put feminine for the tam or buta if you want. So just put, I really want you to have that immediate thing, because in salah when you're listening, you don't have time to really, oh, is this is that. It should come natural. You should learn it from like the root up. So the concept, what is the concept that we're going after? Is the mu. Mu means one that. So as soon as you say munafiqun, mutahharun, so anytime you hear mu in the beginning of a word, you should one who. It's referring to a person, a type of person. So mutahhara, wahum fiha khalidun. Khalidun is one who again. Just like sadiqun, sadiqin, kafirin, khalidun. This one is one who, like you have. Khalidun, one who.
Others.
Forever.
No. Forever.
One who abides forever or lives forever. Ones who dakhala dakhilun.
Enter. Forever.
Okay, so this is khalada, not dakhala. Don't get confused.
I'm copying.
Oh, good job, good job. Ones who live or abide forever. Okay? So that ends the vocabulary, inshallah. That was long vocabulary, but inshallah it was helpful. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.